Hey everyone, this is grade 4, module 1, lesson 8. And in this lesson, through this problem set, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sort of expanding that rounding understanding that I did in the last video, lesson 7. And we're going to be looking at rounding multi-digit numbers to any place value provided to us. And we're still going to use that vertical number line to help us out. So number 1 says complete each statement by rounding the number to the given place value. So it's going to change every time. So we need to make sure that we're paying attention to which place value we need to actually round to. It says use the number line to show your work. And let's take a look at 1A, where it says 53,000 rounded to the nearest 10,000. So the process is exactly the same as when we were rounding just to the nearest thousand, but this time we're just moving whatever place value we're looking at. So this time we're rounding to the nearest 10,000. The process for doing this again is similar, and similar actually it's the same as in the other one, where we're still going to identify which digit is in the place value that we're rounding. So since it asks us to round to the nearest 10,000, we need to identify the digit in the 10,000s place, which in this case is the 5. Again, this amount of 10,000s is going to be our low number, and we're just sticking with that amount of 10,000s. All of the other place values change to zeros. So 50,000, and this top number is the next 10,000. So if I was counting by 10,000s, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, the next one would be 60,000. And this number here in the middle is the lower amount of 10,000s and that halfway number in the next smallest place value. So we're going to put a 5 here in our thousands place. So 55,000 is my middle number. So I need to identify where 53,000 would be on this number line. Again, if it's below this halfway number, we're going to round down to 50,000. And if it's above, then we would round up to 60,000. If I look at this 3 in the thousands place, 3,000 is going to be less than this 5 in the thousands of my halfway number. So we're probably, somewhere around here. This would be where 53,000 goes. So since I'm below this halfway number, I would round down to 50,000. So 53,000 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 50,000. I'm going to scroll down and do letter B, where it says 42,708 rounded to the nearest 10,000. So again, we're rounding to that 10,000s place. Which digit is in the 10,000s place? So this 4. So that 4 in the 10,000s, all these other digits are going to change to zeros when I write my low number as 40,000. And then the next 10,000 after that would be 50,000. And halfway between 40,000 and 50,000 is this amount of 10,000s and a 5 in the next smallest place value to make 45,000. I'm going to go back to my original number, 42,708. Again, I'm really paying attention to this digit here, this 2 in the thousands, compared to this 5 in the thousands of my halfway number. So since 2,000s is going to be less than 5,000s, 42,000 is going to be somewhere in here. Doesn't need to be exact, but we do need to be able to tell whether or not it's above or below that halfway number. And since it's below, it ends up in this section down here. I'm going to, again, round down to 40,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at 2A, and this time we're changing which place value we're rounding to. 2A says 240,000 rounded to the nearest 100,000. So we need to adjust our thinking just a little bit to round to the nearest 100,000 rather than 10,000. So I need to identify which digit in 240,000 is in the 100,000s place. So we have our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and it's this 2 here. That's in my 100,000s. So this amount of 100,000s will be my low number, which is going to be 200,000. And then the next 100,000 after that, again, if I was counting by 100,000s, 100,000, here's 200,000. The next one would be 300,000. And again, when you identify this low number here and this high number here, these are your only possible two answers. So we just need to figure out what this halfway number is here. Again, we stick with the amount of 10,000s provided in our low number, which is 2. And we need to adjust our 10,000s place to have a 5 in it. So halfway between 200,000 and 300,000 is 250,000. So when I'm rounding to the nearest 100,000, I really need to pay attention to the digit here in the 10,000s place. So this 4 in the 10,000s is less than this 5 in the 10,000s. So we'll probably be somewhere around here. This is where 240,000 would be. Again, since I'm below that halfway number, I'm in this bottom section here, I round down to 200,000. Another way of thinking of it is 240,000 is closer to 200,000 than it is to 300,000. And letter B says 449,019. And again, we're rounding to the nearest 100,000. So first things first, identify the digit in the 100,000s, which is this 4 right here. So that is going to be my low number, that amount of 100,000. So 400,000. And the next 100,000 after that would be just one digit up in that 100,000s place, which would be 500,000. Halfway between 400,000 and 500,000 would be 400,000. I'm sorry, 450,000. Said that incorrectly. So again, we need to identify where 449,019 would be, if whether it's in this top section here or this bottom section. And again, you're going to determine that by looking at the next smallest place value. So since we're rounding to the nearest 100,000, we want to look at the digit in the 10,000s place, which in this case is a 4. And since this 4 here is less than this 5 in the thousands place, we're going to end up in this bottom section. But we are fairly close to 450,000. So maybe right here is where 449,019 would go. And again, since we're in this lower section here, we would round down to 400,000. It's like we still need to take care of C and, 1C and 2C as well. So for 1C, we have 406,823, and we're switching back to rounding to the nearest 10,000. No big deal. So again, identify the digit in the 10,000s place. Now, just because we have a digit in the larger place value doesn't necessarily mean that this is the digit that we're rounding. You have to read the directions that we're rounding to the nearest 10,000. All these digits to the left are going to stay the same. All these digits to the right are going to change to zeros. So 406,823. In this case, my low number is going to be 400,000. And again, that 0 was in the 10,000s place. Now, we're counting by 10,000, so what would my higher number be? Well, the 4 is going to stay in that 100,000s, and this is the digit here in the 10,000s that's going to get bumped up by 1. So the next 10,000 would actually be 410,000. And halfway between 400,000 and 410,000 is 4. Remember, the 0 stays the same. And in my next smallest place value is where that 5 goes. So halfway between 400,000 and 410,000 is 405,000. Now, where would 406,832 be? Again, since we're rounding to the nearest 10,000, we should pay attention to the digit that's in the next smallest place value, which is the 6 in the thousands place. That 6 in the thousands is going to be greater than this 5 in the thousands of our halfway number. So 406,000 is going to be above 406,823, might be somewhere around there. Now, since we are above this halfway number, we would round up to 410,000. Again, another way of thinking of it is 406,823 is closer to 410,000 than it is to 400,000. And this letter C over here, we're rounding 964,103 to the nearest 100,000. So again, what digit is in the place value being rounded? Which digit is in this 100,000s place? It's this 9. So the 9 is in the 100,000s. That's going to be my low number. That amount of 100,000s. No more, no less. All these other digits are changing to zeros. Now, what would come after this 9? Well, we'd actually have to bump over to the next largest place value because 10 of one place value is equal to 1 of the next greatest place value. So after 900,000 would be 1 million. Halfway between 900,000 and 1 million would be 950,000. Again, since I'm rounding to the nearest 100,000, it's this 5 goes in the next smallest place value, which in this case would be the 10,000s place. So where would our number fall? 964,103. Since I have a 6 in this 10,000s place, that's greater than this 5 here in the 10,000s place of this halfway number. So I'd be above it. So 964,103 would be above this halfway number. So in this case, we're rounding up to 1 million. So again, when you are doing this and you determine what this low number would be and what this high number would be, these are your only two possible answers. And I always tell my students, if you're rounding to the nearest 100,000, your answer needs to be some 100,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000, 800,000, 900,000. And we have this, you can think of this 10 as 10 100,000s, but 10 100,000s would be 1 of the next greatest place value, which would be 1 million. Number 3 says 975,462 songs were downloaded in one day. Round this number to the nearest 100,000 to estimate how many songs were downloaded in one day, and we're going to use a number line to show our work. And again, 975,462 songs. So we're going to use that vertical number line, same process that we were doing before. So here's my vertical number line. And we need our top number, we need our bottom number, and we need that halfway point. So we're rounding this number to the nearest 100,000. So what digit is in the 100,000s place? In this case, it's the 9 again. So this 900,000s is going to be my low number. And the next amount of 100,000s would be, similar to the last example, 1 million. And halfway between 900,000 and a million is 950,000. Again, that 5 comes in the next smallest place value. Since I'm rounding to the nearest 100,000s, the 5 goes into the next smallest place value, which would be the 10,000s. So where would 975,462 go? Again, I'm going to pay attention to this digit here in the 10,000s, the next smallest place value. And since 7 10,000s is greater than 5 10,000s, we'd be in this upper section here. 975,462. So again, since I'm above this halfway number, I would round up to a million. So to put that in a sentence, I would say something along the lines of 975,462 rounded to the nearest 100,000 is a million. Or I could say about a million songs were downloaded. Number 4 says this number was rounded to the nearest 10,000. Okay, so they're going to provide us a number and they're telling us that it was rounded to the nearest 10,000. List the possible digits that could go in the thousands place to make this statement correct. It says use a number line to show your work. So they're going to give us a number, which in this case looks like, this partial number here. 130 some amount of thousands, 644 rounds to 130,000. And we need to use a number line to show our work. So really what we want to know is, what digit could we put here in this blank space in the thousands place to make this number true? And it asks us to list the possible digits. So we're looking for more than just one. So let's go ahead and draw our vertical number line. And we're rounding down to 130,000. But we could also, the next the next 10,000 would be 140,000. And my halfway point would be have a 5 in this thousands place. So 135,000. So we're really looking for the specific digit that would go in the thousands place to make us round down to this number. And really our key here is this halfway number, because anything above that would round to 140,000. And would you look at that? I have a 5 here in my thousands place, and there's a bunch of witty little rhymes to help you remember. We always use 5 or above, give it a shove, as in rounding up to the next greatest place value or the upper number. 4 below, we'd let it go. So if I had a 4 here in the thousands place, I would round down. If I had a 3 here in the thousands place, I would round down. A 2 in my thousands place, I would round down. A 1 in my thousands place, I would round down, or even the 0 in the thousands place. So I could have 130,000 with a 0 in the thousands place, 644. I could have 131,000, 644. I could have 132,644, 133,644, 134,644. But I couldn't go any higher than that, because if so, then I am looking at this halfway number here of the 5. And when I have a 5 in the thousands place, then I would be rounding up to 140,000. And this answer provides me 130,000. So all of these numbers would round down to 130,000. So I could say having a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the thousands place would result in rounding down to 130,000. Number 5 says estimate the difference. Well, let's stop there. So estimate means we're going to round. The difference means I'm going to subtract by rounding each number, and each number being, these guys here, to the given place value. So letter A says round to the nearest 10,000s. So I need to round 712,350 to the nearest 10,000. Well, this 1 here is in the 10,000s place. And if I've sort of noticed this pattern here, this 2 in the thousands place wouldn't be able to bump this one up to the next greatest place value. So 712,350 rounded to the nearest 10,000 would be 710,000. Now, if I wanted to use a vertical number line to illustrate that, look like this, where 710,000 would be my low number, 720 would be my high number. Halfway between 710,000 and 720,000 would be 715,000. So again, this 2, that's why I said I would look over at this 2, is less than this 5, so I would end up in this bottom section, resulting in me rounding down. So we have 710,000, and we also need to round this number here. So 342,802. And again, I'm rounding to the nearest 10,000. This 4 is in the 10,000s place. Look over here, and I have a 2. So that would mean that I would round to 340,000. Again, I'll illustrate that with a vertical number line, where 340,000 is my low number, and the next highest 10,000 after that would be 350,000. Again, just bumping that digit in the 10,000s place, because that's the place value I'm rounding to, up by 1. Halfway would be 345,000. And again, this 2 here in the thousands place would be less than this 5 here in the thousands place, so I'm in this lower section, so I would also round down. But it asks me to estimate the difference, so I need to take these two numbers and subtract them. So 710,000 minus 340,000. 0, 0 minus 0, 0, 0 minus 0, 0, 0 minus 0 again. 1 minus 4, I would need to regroup 700,000s for 600,000s and 10,000s with the 1 that I already have to make 11. 11 minus 4 is 7, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So we are looking at an estimated difference, if I were to round to the nearest 10,000, of 370,000. This time, we're working with the same numbers, but this time we're rounding them to the nearest 100,000s, which is going to change these numbers up slightly. So I have 712,350 again, but I'm going to shift my focus, instead of looking at the digit in the 10,000s, over to the digit in the 100,000s. So 712,350 would round to 700,000. Again, closer to 700,000 than we are the next 100,000, which would be 800,000. And 342,802 would round to, let's see, this 3 is in the 100,000s. Kind of take a look at this 4. I would not be able to bump up this 3, so we would round this down to 300,000. So we would do 700,000 minus 300,000. Let's try that again. It's better. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 7 minus 3 would give me 4, which would mean that we have an estimated difference, if we were to round to the nearest 100,000, of 400,000. Just real quick before I wrap up, I'll show you rounding these numbers to the nearest 100,000 on the vertical number lines. So 712,000, my low number would be this amount of 100,000s, which is 700,000. And the next highest would be 800,000. Halfway would be 750,000. And the next smallest place value gets that 5. And again, this 1 here in the 10,000ths place is not greater than this 5. So we would be pretty close to 700,000, resulting in us rounding down. Same thing over here with rounding 342,000. I would have 300,000 and 400,000. Halfway would be 350,000. So again, this 4 in the 10,000s is not greater than this 5 here of my halfway number. So I would round down to 300,000, and these numbers are shown here. Thanks for watching. Any feedback, questions, or comments in the comments would be greatly appreciated. Also, subscribe if you're liking these videos. Thanks, everybody. Take care.